Sometimes it's not the simplicity of a question, it's how out of character the question seems. Doris, my wife of 23 years, just asked me, "Are you going to the home office this month?" Seems simple enough. A quick count says I've made that trip over 100 months in a row. I'm the store manager at a large grocery store. My store is part of a national chain and is one of the most profitable in the region. I attend a monthly meeting on the second Thursday of each month. I catch the 7 a.m. flight and return on the 10 p.m. flight. It's a long day, but always full of meetings and presentations. We end the day with a team-building dinner. I get home by about 1 a.m. and usually work a half day on that Friday. In my job, I employ more teenagers than adults. They are notorious for asking a question that has little to do with what they really want to ask. Something like, "Are we getting fresh produce in this Saturday?" is followed a few minutes later with, "Can I have Saturday off?" Seems off subject, but Doris hasn't asked about me going to that meeting in at least 5 years. She knows I'm going. There's no need to ask. Why is it then that this time she needed reassurance? In poker, I think they call this a tell. I made a mental note. Later that evening, I was paying the bills. Actually, I handled just about all aspects of our financial life. In the latest credit card statement for Doris's individual account, there are a pair of charges at the upscale boutique, Angie's Elegant Rags. Nothing odd except she has previously assailed them with how ridiculous their prices are. Years ago, I found that when Doris wanted to hide a birthday or Christmas present, she would bury them under the extra blankets in the hall linen closet. The following morning, when Doris was in the shower, I checked her hiding spot and found nothing. I guess you can't always get lucky, but that also told me it's not a purchase made with me in mind. I rummaged through her closet to no avail. I had mostly forgotten about that purchase until Friday after work. One of my honey-do tasks was to inflate a tire on Doris's car. When I went looking for the air compressor in her trunk, I found 2 sacks from Angie's Elegant Rags. In one sack was a shoebox with blue high heels. In the other was a flimsy blue cocktail dress. The bottoms of the shoes were scuffed. They had seen action. It doesn't take too much imagination to think that if the shoes had been worn, the dress was no longer in mint condition. Was there some kind of party I had forgotten? That didn't make sense. Why hide the dress? A surprise party? For what? Our 46th birthday was a few months ago. Our wedding anniversary was a month before that. There would be no reason my job would be honoring me. I couldn't come up with a plausible reason to have hidden the dress and shoes. Maybe the dress and shoes weren't hidden at all. Leaving them in the trunk might have been a mistake. Overriding all of my speculation was the fact that the shoes had been used. I made another mental note. On Saturday afternoon, having finished mowing the lawn, I bounded up the stairs, stripped, and turned on the shower. I had purchased shampoo earlier in the day. It was in a shopping bag sitting on the stairs. I had placed the shampoo on the first stair so I wouldn't forget it. That worked well. I wrapped a towel around me and headed back down the stairs. I heard Doris's cell phone ringing. Doris answered her cell phone, so I kept quiet. I grabbed the sack containing the shampoo and started up the stairs. "Hey, sis, what's up?" "Let's talk about that when Buck's not here. He's upstairs taking a shower." "Will do. Love you too. Bye-bye." Doris's sister, Mindy, is 2 years younger than Doris, and she and I tend to avoid each other. We used to get along, but since her divorce, she thinks all men are jerks. I can't stand to spend time around her, and Doris knows this. It's not that she snipes at me, it's just that she's so negative about men. Mindy is a little quirky in that you never know what color her hair is going to be from visit to visit. I can't quite wrap my head around some of those brighter colors. Maybe you are walking around the mall and spot someone with a snow cone and decide, "I bet I'd look good like that." I pondered that conversation while taking my shower. I'd never thought about spying on Doris. With 2 recent strange events and the tone of what I just heard, the scales tilted toward spying. No time like the present to meet the challenge. I'm headed out to run some errands. Do you need anything? "Can't think of a thing," she answered. My first stop was the library. I used their computers to search the internet for a voice-activated recorder. I found one that looked acceptable, then located a store that sold it. After that purchase, I stopped at my grocery store and picked up some fruit and snacks. I better come back with something if I'm running errands. Doris spends a lot of time in the kitchen. Her computer workstation is in the corner, behind the kitchen table. She can twist her chair and watch the wall-mounted television in the front room. I attached the recording device to the side of the room fan. The fan needed cleaning, so that became my cover. My name is Buck. Counting the time we spent dating, Doris and I have been together for 25 years. We both started as fitness enthusiasts, but that died out a long time ago. I could stand to lose 50 pounds, and Doris, although still shapely, could easily lose 30 pounds. I'm not a vain person, so my extra weight doesn't bother me in the least. Doris whines about her extra weight and starts on a diet, but a few weeks later, the diet is history. I keep busy with the yard work and my motorcycle. We spend lots of weekends with the neighbors. Doris reads books and watches a lot of reality shows. I've never been able to get into those made-for-television charades. Doris works as a receptionist at the hospital. Our only child, Jason, married Kelly a year ago, and we are proud grandparents of Jared, who is 6 weeks old. When Kelly returns to work, in a few weeks, Doris plans on babysitting to save them the cost of daycare. Doris plans on cutting back her hours at the hospital. She keeps the money she earns for her slush fund. When we were first married, Doris and I were your stereotypical kids. We had love in the morning, love in the evening, or both. That lasted for a few months until Doris discovered she was pregnant. Probably typical, I suspect. The intimacy declined until a few months after Jason was born. It never recovered. Intimacy for the next 20 years was a couple of times a week. Over the last several years, Doris has basically laid flat and encouraged me to hurry, and the frequency is maybe once a week. I tried to broach the subject. "Doris, do you think we should seek a marriage counselor or someone similar to see if they can help put some energy back into our love life?" "I think you are overreacting. Aren't you still getting it at least once a week?" She recoiled. "I am. But it seems like it's pretty mechanical at this point. I'm just trying to see if we can find a way to make it more romantic again." "We don't need some shrink smirking at us. We're fine the way it is. I'm going shopping," she answered. So that's where we stand. It's hard to imagine this is what all married couples are going through. We used to visit swap meets or take in the zoo, but now she sits and watches her recorded television shows. I take motorcycle rides to fill the time. Doris used to ride along, but again, it's been a few years for that too. We live together, not much else. I thought when Jared came along, things might change. I guess they have, as Doris spends a lot of time over at Jason's place. About a year ago, after at least a couple of years of simply existing together, I visited a divorce attorney. She laid out the facts. I'd be paying Doris a sizable amount of maintenance. Maintenance? Like you're keeping your car in working order? Although I had the attorney draw the papers up, I finally decided that maybe I was overreacting. I really didn't want to hurt Doris. I just wanted my life back. A life with someone who enjoyed spending time with me. I put the divorce papers on my desk at work. I haven't brought the subject up with Doris, but living with someone who acts like she wishes she was elsewhere is getting tough to stomach. I think it started when Jason left for college. She seemed lost in an empty house. I don't think she's cheated on me, but then I trust her completely, so I could easily be ignoring the red flags if they were waving. Obviously, these recent developments have me questioning my unconditional trust. What kept nagging at me is that I've had so many opportunities to cheat and have been completely faithful. There are hundreds of regulars at the store, and many of them are lonely widows and divorcees. I've been flashed and propositioned, but have risen above it all. I just assumed that Doris would see in me what I saw in her and never stray. Reality sucks. I found this great little utility to convert voice to text. I plug the memory card from the recorder into my notebook and run this utility. It downloads everything and creates a text file. I can then quickly scan the results and see if there's anything to be concerned about. The only downside to where I put the recorder is that I can't reach it without a step stool. I have to wait until Doris goes to bed before reviewing the day's activities. There are plenty of words converted improperly, but I am able to get the gist of the conversations. My concerns increased when, on Tuesday, Doris had another conversation with Mindy. "Hey sis, how's things?" "Cool. No. Not yet. Probably in the next half hour." "I think so. Things are so stale here. I'm just not excited by him anymore." "Maybe next week. Buck has his monthly trip to the home office. He'll be gone Thursday evening." "Yeah, I work with him. Kathy's been with him. Says he's okay, there." "Yeah. Wouldn't that be angry, going through all that and then finding something the size of your thumb?" "Probably just one time. Just something to spice things up for me." "Why do you care? You two don't even get along." "He'll never know. He might even enjoy it if I learn a few tricks." "You have your opinion. Mine seems to differ. I hear the garage door. Gotta go." "Love you too, sis. Bye-bye." My stomach was in knots. I knew nothing, but the insinuation was ripping me apart. I searched the internet for a private investigator. I downed about 6 ounces of scotch and slept on the couch. "Good morning, honey." "Why'd you sleep on the couch?" Doris asked. My stomach wasn't feeling too good. "Damn, look at the time. I need to hurry." "I've got an early meeting," I answered. I had plenty of time and no meeting to get to, but I couldn't even make eye contact. After making some calls in the morning, I spent lunch meeting with my divorce attorney. I went over my family finances with her. She suggested I resign or take a sabbatical. Everything else would be split down the middle. I would use my trip to the home office to resign. My attorney also gave me some nice pointers about banking and investments. I spent the afternoon doing some of those things. I checked with Angie's, and they don't sell used shoes. Any love I had left was leaking away like a tire with a nail in it. "Doris, take a look at these printouts. These are charges on our joint credit card. I was notified that our account has been compromised and will be canceled. New cards will be mailed. We need to figure out if any of these don't belong to us. Use your own credit card from now on." "Will we have to pay for the charges we didn't make?" she asked. No. That's one of the good things about credit cards. If it's not your charge, you don't pay," I replied. Of course, since I had made up that nonsense about the credit card company calling, all the charges were ours. I shredded both her and my joint cards. "Doris, I was reading on the internet that sometimes when they have your credit card, they might also get into your checking account. What do you think about moving all but 100 into savings? Those accounts aren't linked since they are at different banks." "If you think so, you know I don't spend much time with our finances. Do what you need to do," Doris replied. "There's no ATM linked to our savings account. I made the changes electronically and then waited for Doris to head to bed. Over the next few days, I found nothing notable on the recorder. Monday night, there was someone else in the kitchen. I found the appropriate spot in the recording and listened. It was Mindy with Doris. "This is a surprise. Did you have an errand on this side of town?" Doris questioned. "A dentist appointment. I thought I'd drop by and make one last attempt to talk some sense into you," Mindy replied. "Sorry, sis. I've had enough of living this way. It's time to make something happen. I had lunch with him today," Doris answered. "Damn, you're an idiot. What if Buck finds out and divorces you?" Mindy asked. "It's one time, dinner, dancing, and who knows. I got excited having lunch with him," Doris replied. "Don't do it, sis. I was on the other end of this crap. Don't do it. I need to go. Crosstown traffic can be a pain. I'll call you tomorrow," Mindy begged. "Okay, drive safely," Doris shrugged. I guess that does it. I sent an email confirming my appointment with the private investigator, another email to my attorney to update the petition. At lunch on Tuesday, I instructed the private investigator to follow Doris all day on Thursday. Once he was certain she was headed for her lover's house or motel room, have her served. After work, I stopped and looked at some extended stay properties. Doris was miffed when I arrived home 2 hours late. "Doesn't your phone work anymore? Your dinner is cold. Microwave it yourself," Doris roared. She disappeared into the bedroom. I left the food on the stove. I had picked up some fast food earlier. I made my checklist of people to call, things to say, and various nuisance items that need to be done when you split up. The Tuesday recorder was one-sided again. "Hey, sis, what's up?" "You sound like a broken record." "It's one time." I told him so. "Well, maybe you're right, and I will like it and change my mind." "I guess that's the risk I'm taking. Who'd want him if he dumps me? He's become so boring, so good luck to him if he does. He's been a real jerk recently." "Oh yeah, right. I guess I'm oblivious to all those love-starved women." "Maybe I am. Talk to you later." It occurred to me they were no longer ending their calls with "love you." Seems like things are getting rather tense. My opinion of Mindy had certainly changed. I packed Wednesday evening after a quiet dinner with Doris. There hasn't been any hugging, kissing, or love since last week's discovery. I'm no longer surprised that Doris is emotionless. I left an hour earlier than usual on Thursday morning, long before Doris was awake. On my drive to the airport, it dawned on me that I may never sleep in that house again. While waiting to board, Doris called. "You left before I was up. The earlier flight this time?" "No, I had to swing by the office." "What are your plans for the day?" I asked. "I work until 4, then nothing. I'll probably watch some of the shows I've recorded." "Are you still coming back on the red-eye?" she asked. "I am. They're starting to board. See you later," I replied. I hit end before I heard her parting words. Earlier in the week, I signed up for a new phone. I'm going to cancel our current phones once the papers are served. I used my waiting time at the airport, and while flying, to copy everything from the old phone to the new phone. It's so easy nowadays. Hold them together and click a few boxes for what you want to transfer. At headquarters, things went much better than I expected. I was placed on an open-ended sabbatical. If I returned to work, I would retain my seniority and vesting rights. Having explained the reasoning, they made it effective immediately. I volunteered to mentor my replacement if they desired. I was on pins and needles awaiting the report from the investigator. At 6, I called Doris. "Hi, Buck. How'd it go today?" "Real good. Anything newsy at home?" I asked. "Not really. Boring day." "When do you need to be at the airport?" she answered. "I'm headed to the staff dinner, then I'll head directly to the airport from there. Same drill, different month." "What are you doing tonight?" I questioned. "Just having leftovers and watching my soaps," she replied. "Well, have fun. You know I love you. Talk to you later," I answered. "I love you too," she replied. Since I was no longer employed, I didn't attend the staff dinner. I stopped and ate some healthy fast food. The first text from the investigator came while I was eating my salad. "Target is on the move." So much for the "I love you." I called my home phone and left a message. "Anything exciting going on this evening?" I called Doris's cell phone, but it went to the message, "Anything exciting going on this evening?" You can't say I didn't try. After dinner, I made my way to the airport. I was pacing around the gate area as anxious as a terrorist bomber. I was desperate to know whether I had a wife or a new life. My text tone chimed almost in tandem with a call from Doris. I let the call go to voicemail. The text was from the investigator. "Target down in flames." I had not listened to the voice message from Doris when I received her text. "Buck, please don't do this. I haven't cheated on you yet." That's perfect. Yet. That's exactly why I'm divorcing you, cheating woman. I took a pic of that text with my new phone, then called and canceled our cell phone account. I also canceled our cable TV service. That effectively removes our in-home Wi-Fi. The private investigator sent a video to my email account of tonight's fireworks. The early portion of the video shows Doris leaving home wearing a slinky blue dress with matching heels. Makes sense now. Her first stop was the drugstore, then on to the hotel near the hospital. After a short wait in the lobby, she was greeted by a man who had to be a good 10 years younger than her. Drinks and dinner with touching and caressing of arms and hands. A few dances, with liberties granted and taken. They gathered their coats and headed for the elevators. Once they reached the door of their room and the man had put his key card in, my guy pounced. "Doris Ackerman?" my guy asked. "Yes," she replied. "You have been served. Mr. Bennett, you will be served with an alienation of affection lawsuit. If you are married, your wife will receive copies of my report, along with the pictures and the video. You both have a nice night." Doris was ripping the envelope open, and the man had a dumbfounded look on his face. When Doris realized what the envelope contained, she collapsed to the floor. I also included the complete texts of the conversations from the kitchen. Doris was screeching something, but I couldn't understand it. The video ended. I used my new phone to call my son and let him know my new number. I informed him that I was divorcing his mother on the grounds of infidelity. I asked him to keep my new phone number to himself, as I wanted no one else to know it. He reluctantly agreed. My flight home gave me the necessary time to lower my blood pressure. This thing really takes a toll on your body. I had not anticipated being met at the airport. As I exited the secured area, I heard my name. Doris came running up to me. I sidestepped her attempt to hug me. No longer was she wearing the blue outfit. "Buck, please, I love you. Don't do this. Please, 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 can we talk about this?" "What? I don't even rate the blue dress and heels? I guess you saved those for your lovers?" I roared. "I'm sorry, Buck. It's not like that. I shouldn't have changed. I shouldn't have worn it. I'm so confused. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have—" She started stammering. "Doris, this is neither the time nor the place to talk about this. Go home. I'm going to get my car and do the same. Are you headed straight home, or did you need to stop for some more excitement?" I asked. "Buck, I'm sorry. I'm going straight home," she replied. Once again, I had to deflect her attempt to hug and kiss me. I had not lied. I was headed to my home. That would be my new extended stay home. It took another large quantity of scotch to sedate me. My son woke me around 6 a.m. "Dad, Mom's beside herself. Just call her. Take me out of this loop." "Will do, Jason. Sorry about that, son. I'll talk to you soon," I answered. I used the clandestine phone number feature to call Doris at the house. Our old cell phones were dead. "Hello," she answered. "Doris, this is Buck. Get a lawyer. Have them call my lawyer," I answered. "Damn you, Buck! I was worried that something happened to you," she replied. "A little late to be worrying about me, Doris. I'm through with being taken for granted. Get a lawyer," I roared. "Buck, please don't do this. I don't want a divorce," she pleaded. "That's too bad, Doris. I don't want a wife who gave up on my marriage 5 years ago. Get a lawyer." And I hung up. It's very odd waking up without a job to go to. I walked a few blocks to the cafe. The weekday special suited me perfectly. After breakfast, I let my attorney and the private investigator know my new phone number and address. My attorney called shortly after noon and told me that the bank and brokerage accounts had been frozen. She advised me to drop the suit for alienation of affection since we had no proof of any sexual activity. The private investigator sent a follow-up email. The man involved was single, although he lived with his girlfriend. Maybe I'd take revenge, but right now I couldn't give a thing about him. They did work together so I could stir things up at the hospital if Doris balked at the divorce. We will both need cash for living expenses, so the lawyers will have to work out an equitable amount and frequency for those disbursements. I was petitioning for splitting the costs of the house and my current abode. If Doris wanted to move out of the house, we could sell the house sooner and I'd pay for my place and she'd pay her housing costs. My filing on the grounds of infidelity wasn't going to survive. I had done it for the shock factor. My first day of freedom was spent crossing things off of my checklist. Friends were shocked but supportive. My mother, the eternal optimist, was in favor of reconciling. I let her know that I would as soon as she sprouted wings. With a low-paying job, no ready cash, and a credit card with a low limit, things were about to get pretty tough for Doris. I called looking to talk to Jason, but Kelly answered. "How's my favorite daughter-in-law?" I asked. "Cute. Really cute. I'm not only your favorite, but the one you hate the most. Do you have any idea how many times Doris has called? She's making no sense at all, sometimes screaming, sometimes crying. You really are my favorite now. I'm glad she's hurting. It's a fraction of what she's put me through," I replied. "I don't think I really want to know, but I'm not an idiot. She's having an affair?" she asked. "You're not only beautiful, but smart as well. My investigator ambushed them last night," I replied. "I'm a little concerned about letting her babysit Jared," she questioned. "I can't make that decision for you. I'd love to meet you guys for dinner. Doesn't have to be tonight, but my calendar couldn't be more open," I answered. "I'll talk with Jason. Is this a good number to call you back on?" she asked. "Yes, it is. Please don't share it with anyone. Talk with you soon. Love to everyone," I replied. "Love you too, Dad. Goodbye." Friday night was emotionally draining. The impact of everything that had transpired hit home. I tried solving my problems with a little liquor and a lot of painkillers. It was well after midnight when I finally found slumber. Breakfast on Saturday morning with Jason, Kelly, and Jared was pleasant. They've started letting some of Doris's calls go to messages. After breakfast, I swung by my old house. I couldn't tell if Doris's car was in the garage, so I parked up the street and took a peek through the window on the side of the garage. She was home, so I decided to try again later. I may have to go buy a clean shirt if I can't get in soon. "Hey, Jason, long time, huh? Can you invite your mom over or meet her somewhere? I need to get in and take a few armfuls of my clothes." "Sure thing, Dad. I'll call you back and let you know," Jared replied. About 10 minutes later, he replied, "She's meeting us for lunch at noon." After watching Doris drive away, I entered and started my full house search. I left a note, "Stopped by to talk. I guess you are out getting more excitement." I moved my motorcycle to my friend's house a few blocks away. I walked back and filled my car, which was stuffed when I left the house. I stopped by the discount store and stocked up on snacks. I picked up a thank you card, which I addressed to Mindy and included copies of the text of the kitchen recordings. "Mindy, thank you for trying. Buck." I spent Saturday afternoon and much of Sunday watching the horse races at the off-track parlor. I need a hobby as this retirement stuff is way too boring, and this is just my first weekend. I bought the Sunday newspaper and scanned for volunteer opportunities. On Sunday, I was sitting at the off-track next to Martin, a retired insurance agent who's a devoted horse player. He had me wanting to learn more about betting. He proudly announced his choices, and he had a very profitable day betting. I copied a few of his bets, winning a few, losing a few, and finished the afternoon up about 20. Pretty cheap entertainment today. Monday morning, I filled out the paperwork to be a volunteer at the pet shelter. My attorney called to let me know that we needed to sit down with Doris and her attorney. Thursday at 4 p.m. was chosen. I spent about 5 hours with Martin. He lost a few big bets, but still clawed his way back to finish down just a little. I lost about 10. Still pretty cheap entertainment. I started working at the pet shelter on Wednesday. I had a 4-hour shift. The love from those little creatures couldn't have come at a better time in my life. After my shift on Thursday, I settled into the conference room. Doris had gone all out to look presentable. Her lawyer and mine both graced us with their scowls. The jousting began. Doris and I sat quietly as the lawyers sparred. I purposely sat on the same side of the table as Doris, so we couldn't stare at each other. "We will not accept the filing on the grounds of infidelity," her lawyer said. "Mrs. Ackerman, what did you purchase at the drugstore on the night you were served?" my lawyer asked. "Don't answer that. It needs to be changed to irreconcilable differences," her lawyer demanded. "We will take that into consideration." "Anything else?" my lawyer asked. "You failed to include maintenance," her lawyer answered. "Good point. Since Mrs. Ackerman is the only one employed, I suggest Mr. Ackerman receive 25% of her net payroll check." Doris exploded. "No way! He has a great paying job. Taking a few weeks off doesn't change that." Mr. Ackerman had a great paying job. He is currently unemployed and was prior to Mrs. Ackerman being served. What we will offer is to remove the reference to adultery and agree to no maintenance by either party if this agreement is filed with prejudice. Can I have a few minutes with Mrs. Ackerman? Her lawyer asked. We left the conference room. I watched Doris twist and turn in her chair. She needed several tissues before we were waved back in. We have a few stipulations. First, if Mr. Ackerman finds paid employment in the next 12 months, the maintenance issue will be reopened. We want the request for splitting the cost of Mr. Ackerman's housing removed. He is more than welcome in his home. The home will be placed on the market immediately, and when sold, the proceeds will be split 60-40 in Mrs. Ackerman's favor. We request that the savings account be split equally and disbursed immediately. Can I have a few minutes with Mr. Ackerman? My lawyer asked. They left the conference room. I did the quick math on the house. We had about $300,000 in equity. I'd be giving up $30,000 if I accepted. We decided to conditionally accept. We will accept these with one caveat. Until the house is sold, Mrs. Ackerman is responsible for all of the expenses on the house. If the house fails to sell within 6 months, it will be auctioned. A few whispered comments then. Accepted. As I was preparing to leave, Doris asked, Buck, can you stick around and talk with me? Doris, once the paperwork is signed and submitted, I will meet with you, I replied. I should feel great that it went that well, but I sat by myself in my room sipping scotch in the dark. I wonder how many people would change their minds about getting married if they knew how much it hurts when the marriage fails. The following morning, the pets made me forget everything. I was really enjoying spending my afternoons betting the ponies. Martin loved sharing his approach to handicapping. I hit a trifecta that paid just under $200. What a rush. The loneliest time was after dinner until bedtime. I played music and read books. Sometimes I would play the horses via the internet. You could really become addicted to that stuff as they offer racing worldwide. I sampled the pubs but felt so out of place that I just went back home. Monday, after my shift at the shelter, I dropped by and signed the updated petition for dissolution. I sent Doris a text. Dinner at our favorite pizza place? What time works? Almost immediately she replied, 6 p.m. At the off track, I did just so-so betting that day. Martin hit the pick 6 for $3,200. He spent $240 for the ticket. You have to spend money to make money. 24 is the largest single bet I've made so far. My stomach was quite unsettled when I sat across from Doris. Makeup couldn't hide her weathered look. Buck, please let me talk. Uninterrupted. I'm sorry. I really am. And I'm just saying that because I was caught. I've had time to reflect and realize what an annoying woman I've become. I've tried and tried to find a reason. Once I have money from the house, I intend to get some counseling. I never meant to hurt you. Those printouts clearly show how callous I'd become. You have a right to blame me. My heart is broken. I cry myself to sleep many nights. Please try to find a way for us to get back together. I love you more than ever. Doris, tell me about the blue dress and heels, I questioned, with a stunned look. The dress? I bought it for that night. Why is that important? I sat silently, not making eye contact. I pulled up the pic of the initial text from Doris and showed it to her. Doris, what does this say? The text read, Buck, please don't do this. I haven't cheated on you yet. You couldn't have stated it any clearer. In your mind, setting up a date with the intent of having intimacy isn't cheating. How did you put it? You have your opinion, mine seems to differ. Even if we get back together, yet means it's not if, just when you will cheat. Your inner soul spoke for you. I have no intention of waiting until you find that I'm as boring as ever, and you need to cheat. Who I am, what I've become, and what I'm likely to be aren't compatible with who you are, what you've become, and what you're likely to be. I believe you were honest when you said I didn't excite you anymore. We've been living a lie. You fell out of love years ago. Your words and actions clearly paint a picture of someone who cares only for themselves. No longer were you concerned about us, only about you. Being heartbroken now doesn't make me more excited. I tossed the divorce paperwork from 2 years prior in front of Doris. I had contemplated asking you for a divorce a couple of years ago, but decided that I didn't want to hurt you. Isn't that laughable? Well, you've removed that obstacle. You've given me the kick in the back I needed to do what's right for me. The time for tears was when you turned me down when I suggested we get help. I hope you find what you're looking for. One more thing. I gave you the opportunity to deal honestly with me. I found the dress and shoes about a week before you were served. The shoes had already been worn. I checked with Angie's and they told me they don't sell used shoes. My guess is that the dress was worn as well. Goodbye is too good a word, so I'll just say so long. We wasted our money on that pizza. Doris was sobbing with her head buried in her arms. I paid the bill and left. I picked up a few more bottles of scotch and was ready to sedate myself again. I've tried some of the dance clubs and pool halls, but knew I wasn't ready to act on any impulses, so I never stayed long. I've kept in touch with the people I used to work with. I've also had dinner with a few of the couples that Doris and I used to socialize with. What I failed to realize when I left Doris is that I'd also lost my best friend. We did so many things together that almost everything brought back memories of her. It saddened me, but not enough to drop my plans to break free. It was a few days after the paperwork was filed with the court when the first email arrived. Someone with an email address of "Waiting for Mr. Wright." The text read, "Hi, Buck. I was hoping we could get together. Can we start by exchanging emails?" It certainly got my attention. My first reaction was that this was Doris doing something to mess with me. I replied with this text, "I might like that. Please tell me more about you, Buck." This was slow motion. I checked a few times that day, but the response didn't appear until the following morning. The text read, "Great. I'm a woman about your age and I'm available. Enough about me. I've heard you are going through a divorce." I still wasn't convinced that this wasn't Doris. I decided to ponder a while before responding. I headed to the off-track after my shift at the shelter. I'm becoming addicted to betting the ponies. I had my first winning ticket in excess of $500. I made a donation to the pet shelter. I replied back with this text, "Yes, I'm awaiting the court's approval. My soon-to-be ex decided I was too boring. Are you married? Buck." She said she was available, but I certainly didn't want anything but a single woman. The following day, I received this text. "I'm divorced and have been for several years. Boring works for me. I'm not into crowded bedrooms. What do you want in a woman?" This was turning into a poker game. Neither side disclosed too much. I still wasn't convinced this was real. I replied back, "All I ever wanted was a woman who wanted me as much as I wanted her. Why me? Why now? Buck." I spent the day at Jason's watching Jared while Kelly ran errands. Kelly brought me up to date on Doris. Doris has regrets now, but it was just the triggering event of a much deeper problem. When people fall out of love, there just isn't one thing you can blame it on. Then the reply came, "Buck, because I think you are right for me and you are getting divorced." I was struggling to come up with a way to expose Doris if it was her. I decided to be blunt. I texted back, "How do I know you aren't my soon-to-be ex, Buck?" This slow-motion dance was somewhat therapeutic. I was always anxiously anticipating the next email. We never exchanged more than one email a day. Then her reply came, "Buck, I'm not Doris. I wish I knew how to convince you. Every scenario I play out in my mind could be staged by someone trying to scam you. Let's get back to my agenda. I want you to want me." I had never mentioned Doris's name, so that told me she knew more about me than she was willing to admit. I replied with this text, "Let's get together soon. How about this weekend? Buck." She replied, "Buck, sorry, but not until you are divorced. I don't want to get my hopes up only to have you go back to your wife." I answered, "I understand. Probably just as well as I'm still a very confused man. 25 years gone and nothing to show for it. Buck. She replied back, Buck, you have a son, and now a grandson you can be proud of. You do have something to show for it. I'll never know what that feels like. Okay, she knows about Jason and Jared. Certainly not looking like she's a casual acquaintance. I answered with this text. Sorry, I'm just overcome with emotions some days. I guess I never asked if you had children. Buck. She replied, Buck, no children. My marriage broke up before we got to that stage. Just as well the way it turned out. What's it like being retired? Who said I was retired? This means she's probably talked with Doris. I wondered if it was Mindy. I discarded that thought since we've been at odds for so long. Maybe one of the neighbors. There were a few nearby that were single. I guess it's possible that one or more of them is divorced. I answered back with this text. Boring. I really miss working. All of this time on my hands makes it tough to leave the past behind. How long did it take you? Buck. She replied, Buck, how long? I'll let you know as soon as I find Mr. Right. Day after day, we exchanged one short email. I wouldn't disclose much about myself, and she wouldn't disclose much about herself. It was a fun game that had now gone on for 2 months. We spent several days sharing how lonely the evenings and nights were. She wouldn't disclose how she knew me. She at least admitted that we had already met. Doris had tried on several occasions to convince me to drop the divorce. I refused to meet with her but did speak with her several times. I guess boring is better than lonely. It was clear to me that she regretted her decisions. My heart was cold. It was the next email that had me thinking I should see where this was headed. I decided to escalate our little email dance. She texted, Buck, when we meet, once you are an eligible bachelor, what would you like me to wear? I replied, something that looks good on my bedroom floor. Buck. The following day's email was a series of emoticons, smiling, blushing, winking, and then her reply, I can do that. How much longer do we have to wait? I replied, a week from Wednesday is the tentative hearing date. I'm looking forward to learning your identity. Buck. It took just shy of 90 days for the divorce to wind through the courts. I sedated myself the night it was approved. The pain is hard to describe. As happy as I was that it was over, there was a searing feeling letting me know that I had paid a healthy price for it. She came back and texted, Buck, welcome to the ranks of middle-aged bachelors. When can we meet? I answered, you know my schedule. I'm babysitting Friday night as well. Buck. The next morning she answered, Buck, I dropped by the off-track but chickened out. I'll try again on Saturday. I replied, thanks for the heads up. I haven't shaved or showered in months, so this gives me time to clean up. Buck. On Saturday morning she texted, Buck, please be gentle if you don't want me. If this was Doris, I wasn't going to be gentle about it at all. I hadn't composed my response when someone knocked on my door. I was shocked to see Mindy. She was wearing flip-flops, a gray sweatshirt, and black sweatpants. Mindy, this is a surprise. Come on in. Wow, you've lost some weight. You look great. Your hair looks very nice with those highlights. I've got a fresh pot of coffee. Would you like a cup? Thank you, kind sir. Coffee sounds good. I hear that you are single again, she asked. As it turns out, I am. What brings you around so early on a weekend? I questioned. I grabbed the coffee pot and filled a cup. I turned around to find Mindy putting her arms around my neck. Would you like to be my Mr. Right? She asked. At one point, I wondered if you were my email flirt, but since we were always butting heads, you know. What does a Mr. Right get? I questioned. Well, if you slip your hands under my sweatshirt, you'll find nothing underneath. I took the hint. Our eyes remained locked. I've loved you for a long time. I told Doris she would regret it if you divorced her. I'm here to show you how much I'd like to have a boring but caring man in my life, Mindy answered. After a few sips of coffee, she asked, I think my clothes look good on your floor, don't you? Does this place have a bedroom? We ordered pizza around dinner time. Mindy spent the night. I think I had more love that night than when I was a newlywed. In between sessions, we chatted. How is it you and I never got along? It was a love-hate thing. You were so sweet and caring, and the jerk I married was none of those things. I was always so jealous of Doris. All married men were supposed to be jerks, like the one I married, and you just wanted her to be happy. She's an idiot. I'm hoping we can become more than friends. We went out to dinner on Sunday night. Mindy was nothing like the woman I had grown to dislike. We talked about her life and mine. It all seemed so natural, but then again, we had been flirting for over 2 months. We went back to my place and snuggled while watching a movie. With a twinkle in her eye, she asked, I have to work tomorrow. Can I leave you with something to think about? Sure, I replied happily. Loneliness keeps me company in my house. I was thinking you could bring your loneliness over, and while they're getting to know each other, we could sneak off to my bedroom. You can stay as long as you want, she answered playfully. I accepted her invitation, and we've been together ever since. We went together to get tested for STDs. When both came back clean, we started our adventures. Mindy suggested one of the best decisions we've made. Buck, before this gets too serious, I would like it if we could get counseling. I am committed to making this work. I want to know and understand what you are going through. I also want you to know and understand what I've been through. I will do whatever it takes to make you mine. I love you, Mindy answered. Mindy, I think that's a great idea. I love you too, I replied. It helped me understand Mindy's divorce and bitter attitude. It helped Mindy understand my situation. More than that, it helped us find the signals for when we had irritated the other. I have to remember that Mindy isn't Doris, and Mindy has to remember that bounce-back romances can be quite rocky if the recently injured isn't given enough time to heal. At no time did I think the shrink was smirking at us, and after one particular session, it led to the best love I'd ever had. Buck, time for you to tell us what you've learned about Mindy. I've learned that behind that facade of bitterness is one of the most loving and caring women a man could ever want, I answered. As far as her family, things came into focus one night when Mindy received a call from her mother. Mindy seemed to keep her cool until the end of the conversation. Let me make it easy for you. Never call me again. Got it. And she hung up. What was that all about? I asked. Mom's not sure whether she can get over this. She said Doris was never going to talk to me again. I couldn't care less if I ever heard from them again. Let them live for years battling loneliness and depression. I've got a hold of what I want, and they can go to hell. I didn't understand her mother's attitude. She had one divorced daughter bathed in loneliness and another married to a boring man. It's not like it's a different boring man. Seems like nothing has changed. I used my cell phone to call Mindy's mom. Hello, Buck, she answered. What do you know about Doris's lovers? You know the ones I found out about before I divorced her? I asked. She was speechless. Speak up, I can't hear you, I pressed. I didn't know about that, she answered. Well, then take your righteous attitude and keep it to yourself, I roared. I hung up. Mindy was smiling as she snuggled. I gave her the most passionate kiss I had in me. We clung to each other for a very long time. Mindy and I eloped to Las Vegas. Jason and Kelly have accepted Aunt Mindy as my wife. We get updates on the rest of the family from them. Apparently, Doris has developed a drinking problem. It's a big concern for Kelly as a drunk babysitter doesn't work too well for her. I offered to help fund legitimate daycare as I've got plenty of money now that the house has been sold. I didn't make it to my 12-month no-maintenance target. They opened a new store, and I accepted the store manager position. Doris gets some money for the next 18 months. Mindy made my decision easy. I've been making a monthly donation to the pet shelter. Mindy has started volunteering there on weekends with me. I still play the ponies, only now from the comfort of Mindy's living room. It's a lot tougher than Martin made it look. Mindy's mother is trying hard to reel Mindy back into the family. Mindy says it's too soon, but maybe in a year, she'll feel different. Doris has sent letters to both Mindy and me. Mine was 8 pages long and Mindy's was longer. Mindy took hers into the bedroom when she started crying. I really wasn't interested yet in reading what Doris had to say. "Buck, would you mind if I started talking with Doris again?" she asked. "Mindy, you know I could and would never stand in your way. She got to you, didn't she?" I replied. "Not just a little. She told me if I ever broke your heart, she would never forgive me." "Did you read her letter to you?" Mindy asked. "No. If I pick at my scab and it starts to bleed again, who do I have to blame? Call her and start mending fences. I'll go walk around the block." They talk regularly now, but I don't want anything to interfere with what I've got going with Mindy, so I keep my distance from Doris. Mindy is my new best friend, and we spend very little time apart. She seems to enjoy the motorcycle trips. Loneliness doesn't like me staying with Mindy and seems to have disappeared. I hear it may have found a place to stay at Doris's apartment. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.